Welcome to the Heavy Spoilers Show. I'm your host Paul, and Valentine's Day is cancelled because the new Justice League Snyder Cut trailer is finally here. Me and the wife had a lovely day yesterday because I told her after a leap year that Valentine's Day happens on the 13th, but it's over now and we're here to bring you all the granny goodness on the new look as well as what the extra and additional shots could be. You're living in a fucking dream world if you think there won't be spoilers here, and as we will be talking about aspects of the nightmare scenes, you might want to switch off. If not and you enjoy the video, then please hit the thumbs up button and make sure you subscribe as we're almost at the 500,000 mark and you can tell people you knew me before it was cool. With that out of the way, thank you for clicking this, now let's get into the breakdown. Okay, so up top, I think one thing that we have to address is that the movie is officially R-rated, and in the words of Jonathan Kent, fuck them kids. I know there's been some backlash to this, but I honestly can't think of the last time that I actually checked what the rating of a movie was before watching it. The main controversy surrounding this is how it's not really suitable for kids, but I also don't know any kids who are willing to sit through a 4-hour film. I think a big change in the comic book industry came in the 80s when companies realised that adults actually spent more money on comic book stuff than kids did. And no mom, it's not a toy, it's a $400 action figure that must be kept in its box at all times. There's a lot of money to make out of us adults, and therefore marketing things with an R rating doesn't mean that they won't be successful. Snyder has been given full creative control over the project, and it's clear that he's making the movie he wants to make, so if you just want a fun and friendly version of the film, then guess what? You've got Justice League. Pain? Now if you were following the comments on the last trailer, then you'll know that a lot of people drew the conclusion that it would pretty much be the exact same movie with just a couple of extra scenes. I think with this trailer, they really pushed this idea to the side and did include some focus on Darkseid and characters that weren't in the original. From the off, I'll say that I think they absolutely nailed this as a way to promote the movie, and I would much rather watch this 500 times than watch the Joss Whedon version anymore, ever again. Anyway, we kickstart with Superman's death in Batman v Superman, and his super cries completely rock the landscape, shaking it and also ringing the bell for Darkseid and Steppenwolf. In the original trailer, there was a line about how there were no lanterns or Kryptonians, and after the first invasion failed, they were clearly biding their time until Earth's protectors had fallen, and the ringing of this bell in many ways symbolises that now's the time to strike. Now some behind the scenes stuff, a family feud as it were. After the first invasion of Earth failed, Darkseid cast Steppenwolf out, and this is very much him trying to win back favour with his lovely nephew. So when I say ring the bell for Darkseid and Steppenwolf, what I really mean is the former, who's then going to offer up the planet as a present. Just keep me alive, I've got puns, I am with something I swear. Now from here we go to Themyscira and see Hippolyta staring over into the ocean. This might be one of the cliffs that her daughter dived off decades before, but that could also be a reach. We then see the tomb where the mother box was held, being pushed off a cliff. I'm guessing that this is after the attack by Steppenwolf, and they're now just closing everything off because they've realised that hope may be lost and it's pointless keeping it around. Cut to the Nightmare timeline, and we see what I believe is Batman going to get the Joker. At the end of the trailer the two meet, and this definitely seems like it's tying in with that moment. The trailer actually contains several points from the Nightmare timeline that we did see parts of in Batman v Superman. There are rumours that this is actually how the movie ends, and according to the leaks the film will tease to us that the League were unable to stop the latter invasion by Darkseid, and after Lois was killed, Superman ended up succumbing to his power and he too fell in line. This is of course what we saw in Batman v Superman, and from what we know about the Joker, Deathstroke and Mira's role in the reshoots, it looks like they're all teaming up to take him down. We also know from BVS that the Flash travels backwards in time, so there is potential that this is set up here, which brings everything full circle. Darkseid's Legion has taken over the planet, and it turns out that the Joker actually managed to get his hands on a mother box. Batman then goes to him with Cyborg and Deathstroke, and he has to work with his archenemy for the greater good. He says we live in a society, which I think might be a little nod to Phoenix's portrayal, but that's been memed to death, so I'm not sure. Either way, if it is, the lad's still hilarious, he's still got it, and he's my favourite hunker. Now other interesting elements are that Cyborg appears with some upgrades and a bazooka on his shoulder. Since the war started, he's clearly had to round up some XP points and make sure that he can upgrade to his best outfit ever. In the leaked storyboards, Flash was actually seen carrying his torso, which had been broken in half, so perhaps in getting the Joker, things don't go down too well. We can see him standing behind Batman at the end, so that all happening at this moment would be my guess. Now we then cut back to the present timeline and see Diana with a torch in what looks like an underground cavern. This is where she discovers the legend of Darkseid, and apparently it comes towards the end of the movie after they encounter him through a boom tube, which we'll discuss later in the video. Now Diana is very much the historian of the group, so it makes sense that she'd be looking into it, and it's kind of funny that she has a torch because she's very old school. They have phones with lights these days, love. I'm just kidding, don't kill me. Now we then get a close-up shot of her, and behind her can see that there are actually 3 mother boxes, which does hammer home that this is indeed a place that is set up to chronicle Darkseid. It may even be a sort of church and worship to him, as we saw from Lex that there are plenty of people willing to bow before the master of the anti-life equation. Cut to the aftermath of the invasion, where Darkseid towers above all. We can actually see his parademons with their heads bowing down to him, and these are likely the people of Earth who have been transformed into the monsters. The anti-life equation completely takes away the free will of all, and it was rumoured that Darkseid captured Clark and took from him the Kryptonian Codex, which allowed him to formulate the way to control the masses. Krypton was of course built on everyone falling in line and fitting the roles that they were given at birth, and Clark was the first naturally born child, meaning that they could link them up, though we don't know for definite yet. We then see Steppenwolf bowing to his master, and this happens after the Unity. We also see Steppenwolf without his armour, well, his helmet anyway, and it shows his scaly lizard-like complexion that looks a bit like my balls. What? No, nothing. Now Steppenwolf then attacks the Amazonians as seen in the theatrical cut, but he seems to be far meaner. We know from the behind the scenes looks that he beheads several of them and chops up the horses, and it's goddamn metal. It's metal. We then jump to Batfleck saying that he needs warriors whilst recruiting Aquaman, and then Diana fails to stop the detonation at the museum. In the original version, she did stop the kids from being killed, but then another explosion went off which made her start to doubt herself. Bruce had to bring her back around to realising that she was a hero, and it added far more to her character, which we will be getting here. Aquaman then goes to Atlantis, and this attack will feature parademons as well as several Atlantean gods. It will also set up more things in the Aquaman solo movie, such as the kingdom being doomed, and then the true king having to step up, which gives Arthur more to do. There's definitely a King Arthur vibe to his origins here, but for some reason Warner Brothers just wanted to cut it from the original version. We then see the Batmobile racing through the streets, and a similar fight to what happens in Gotham Harbour. However, the footage and cinematography just looks so much better, and it's almost head scratching that this wasn't in the theatrical release. We then see Steppenwolf fighting Arthur and his eyes glowing blue, perhaps linking him to drawing power from the boom tube. Cut to the hologram of Superman, which is being displayed by Cyborg, and this was of course shown in earlier trailers. This is what the team used to decide whether it's possible to resurrect him or not, and they realised that they can because of the codex that exists within his cells. Zod of course came back as a horrific monster, yet Clark will be different because his cells are completely different to everyone else's on Krypton. Now an interesting shot is one of Ray Fisher, aka Victor Stone, raising his arms. This actually happens in a simulation after the death of his father, and he sees both him and his mother there. He wants to be human more than anything, but his machine body has made this impossible, and thus he's getting a lot more character development in which he accepts that his father forced him on this path. We then see Barry rescuing Iris out of the crashing car, and if you look closely, the guy has no shoes on. This is because he ran so fast that they burned off, and thus he had to develop the suit which could handle more friction. Cut to Lois and Clark meeting, and then Clark taking off. We can see the dirt lifting around him starting to lift off, showing that he creates his own magnetic field when he flies, and this of course ties in with the end of Batman v Superman and the flying scene in Man of Steel. He's also stood on what might be a gravestone, but I'm not 100% sure on that, so let me know if you do below. I don't know everything. Yeah, then there's a lot of action shots which include Themyscira and the King of Atlantis fighting. There's also a bit where Cyborg grabs the Unity, and it's at this moment that he sees Darkseid. The Flash saves him from this, but it scares him to the point that he realises how paramount it is that they stop Steppenwolf. There's a lot of cool action moments in this montage, and it looks absolutely incredible, and oh my god, I can't believe they're making it. Next we see Frank Miller's Batmobile, which I want to address later in the video. Though we don't know exactly what part this happens at, it does seem like it's connecting to the point in which Batman travels to the Spy to take down Steppenwolf. I have seen people say that this is actually the nightmare scene, but I'm not 100% convinced due to its seeming prior to the full invasion. We also know from the storyboards that there will actually be a 5-year time jump, so I'm not sure if they will show all the ins and outs between. Now, after this clip was posted in the trailer for the trailer, Snyder did state that this was actually in the Batcave and that a cavern would open up and show the flying fox, and this existing as part of his armory. It's even possible that the slimmer and smaller Batmobile fits inside of it and can eject, which is how it's able to be in the final battle, which we know from the clips of the finale. Lastly, we see Superman appearing in a frame and then blasting Steppenwolf. There also looks like what could be a boom tube behind him, and this might be the moment that the villain is beheaded and then that's tossed through before being stopped by Darkseid's boot. It has been said that the League will actually see him through this tube, and this could definitely be hinting towards him appearing at this point, and then Diana going off and investigating him. Now, 3 of the big things that I want to talk about in sort of their own segment are the Frank Miller Batmobile, Granny Goodness, and the Joker reveal that we did get a first look at earlier in the week. The first is obviously a massive Easter egg that pulls from The Dark Knight Returns, and Snyder is now officially calling it the War Machine. I wouldn't even mind if we did another recast on Rhodey in the MCU, and this was just Tony's best mate the entire time, because damn, it looks good. Snyder has completely recaptured the look from the source material, and it makes for a towering machine that really shows how much attention to detail that the creative team are paying. I'm not sure how much this will feature in the film, as the original Justice League one needs to feature too. However, it is possible that it may make a big appearance, as it's an arsenal on wheels and would be something that would definitely help in the war. The second big thing I want to talk about on its own is Granny Goodness. Unlike the majority of the higher ups on Apocalypse, she actually appears to be like your normal grandma who just wants to give you money and food and maybe a little squeeze of the cheek. However, she's far darker than that and will happily cut your head off at Christmas and crap down the hole in your neck so that you eat her crap. Tastes like Joss Whedon's Justice League, eh? You having that? Now, Granny Goodness started life off as Baby Goodness, I doubt she was a granny, and she was seen as one of the peasants of the planet. However, Darkseid picked her up out of poverty and trained her to be one of his elite soldiers. A hilarious part in the training was that she had to raise a dog, and at the end of it, she was ordered to kill it. Instead, she killed the trainer for ordering her to do that, and it just shows that she is quite a ruthless person. Now, she did later turn around and kill the dog for Darkseid, and this showed loyalty to him and him alone. Since then, she's ran orphanages in search of warriors to join his ranks and has been integral to the comics. Though pretty funny to look at, don't make jokes about her unless you want that crappy taste of Joss Whedon's Justice League in your throat, and she's definitely not one to mess with. And lastly, I just want to discuss Jared Leto's Joker. Though I did an initial reaction to this first look, I didn't really go into all the ins and outs of it, and I kinda want to touch upon what Snyder said rather than just giving my personal opinion. This is linked in with the Nightmare timeline, and though Joker wasn't originally part of it, Snyder said the following when discussing the character. The Joker is really the only thing that I thought of in retrospect, but I will say that it was always my intention to bring Joker into that world. Now, I think with this being the story of second chances, it also makes sense to bring Leto back, as he's a phenomenal actor who many feel was let down by DC in Suicide Squad. In the shots, Leto's Joker wears a bulletproof vest that's adorned with police badges, and Snyder says that these are his trophies. When discussing the scene itself, the director told Vanity Fair, "The cool thing about the scene is that it's Joker talking directly to Batman about Batman. It's Joker analysing Batman about who he is and what he is. But that's the thing I also felt like fans deserved from the DC universe. That is to say, the Jared Leto Joker and the Ben Affleck Batman, they never really got together. It seemed uncool to me that we'd make it all the way through this incarnation of Batman and Joker without seeing them come together. Right now over me." He didn't say that, but he did go on to say, "The scene explains why Bruce had the Joker card taped to his gun that you see in Batman vs Superman. I'd always wanted to explore the death of Robin, and if there was going to be a next movie, which of course there probably won't be, I wanted to do a thing where in flashbacks we learn how Robin died, how Joker killed him, and burned down Wayne Manor, and that whole thing that happened between he and Bruce. So lots of things there that sound absolutely amazing, and I would love to see the rumoured Ben Affleck HBO Max Batman show explore not only the death of Jason Todd, but the destruction of Wayne Manor and more. There are really a lot of potential avenues, and I absolutely loved the trailer. Now obviously I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, so make sure you comment below and let me know, and if you enjoyed this video then please drop a thumbs up. Don't forget that on the 28th of February we're giving away 3 copies of the MCU Phase 3 4K box set to our subscribers. Don't tell them I like the Marvel Universe as well. Now all you have to do to be in with a chance of winning is like the video, make sure you subscribe with notifications on, and drop a comment below with your thoughts on the trailer. The winners of last month's competition are on screen right now, so if that's you then message me on Twitter. The links to our socials are in the description, and you can also support the channel by clicking the join button, and as a thank you you get videos out this early. If you want something else to watch then make sure you check out our breakdown of WandaVision, which will be linked on screen right now. We went over the episode top to bottom and pointed out a lot of the Easter eggs and gave our theories on what's happening, so it's definitely worth checking out if you want to know more. With that out of the way, thank you for sticking through the video. I've been Paul, I'll see you next time. Take care, peace, and enjoy Valentine's Day, even though you ruined it with this video. Much love.